So Yu Suzuki continues with his classic arcade games this year with Space Harrier.
Fantasy Zone and Space Harrier actually take place in the same universe.
It's not what you think.
When the game starts, he says,
"Welcome to the Fantasy Zone."
I'm going to tell my wife that. She's going to be really impressed.
In Space Harrier, you control a gentleman who has a large flying bazooka, rocket pack sort of thing that he tucks under his arm, and you run through different levels in the Fantasy Zone and destroy a ton of crazy creatures as you fly around.
Really, the gameplay is so unique that it's one of those games you just have to pick up and play, and right away it's easy to catch on to, but it's so much fun. I love the pseudo 3D graphics.
It had a controller similar to these.
It's like, am I riding a rocket and shooting things, or am I flying an F-16?
in fact, it was originally going to be an airplane game, but they didn't have the graphical resources to do it, and it's actually easier for them to make a little guy running around and flying.
Space Harrier was one of the first arcade games with 16-bit graphics and used Sega's super scaler technology, which basically allowed them to fake 3D.
Now, there's always lots of enemies on the screen at the same time. Lots of different moving parts. There's never any slowdown.
It had some crazy awesome characters. Like, have you ever seen a Cyclops woolly mammoth? Now you have.
You get weird stone faces.
And there's like cat dragons.
I really like how stages 4, stage 9, and stage 14, they had the ceiling that come down.
Oh, yeah.
And they'd go like really, really fast. And of course I could totally dodge that because I kicked ass at Space Harrier.
Well, yeah, you had the reflexes of, you know,
a 14-year-old
like
boy,
awesome.
which I was.
While the game is very simplistic to play, it endures as a favorite simply because the graphic style and the way the game was designed was just so unique.
It had some of the most memorable arcade music ever.
It's very fast-paced. The melody is just fantastic.
Has a great beat to it.
It used a digitized voice, so after beating a boss, it would say stuff like, "You're doing great."
You're doing great.
Thanks.
Yeah, Sega began to differentiate themselves from other companies.
Space Harrier. You're not in space. You're not in space in Space Harrier.
Dude, let's be Blowfish and go uncover hidden pictures made out of gold bars.
Sounds fun.
All right, then we're playing Clu Clu Land.
That was how it went, right?
The main character was a bubble fish known as Bubbles, or in Japan, Gurupi, which sounds like groupie, I don't know, but it had arms and legs. How is that a fish? That's not a fish.
And your underwater lair is full of posts and gold bars and trampolines that bounce you around. Anyways, there's a picture that's hidden in each level, and it changes. Each level's picture changes between 1 of 2 or 1 of 3.
The point of the game is to uncover hidden gold bars to form the shape of something, like a mushroom or glasses or something.
There's hearts and people, steamrollers, butterflies, abstract patterns.
There's 2 player simultaneous action.
Which is fun because you can screw over the other player too.
The way you attack in the game is by sending out a sound wave that stuns enemies, and then you just squish them into the wall.
You can pick up fruit and things that stop the clock because there's an ever counting down timer.
The game control is crazy and probably the most common complaint about the game. You're constantly running forward, and what you do is you stick your arm out and grab a peg, which will spin you indefinitely around the peg until you let go.
Not sure why it's called Clu Clu Land though. I always thought it was like a mystery, like Gumshoe.
Maybe it's because when you go over the diamonds, it's like they're giving you a clue about what the picture is.
Clu Clu is the romanization of the Japanese onomatopoeia kuru kuru, which means to go around and around. Makes sense if you think about it. Twinbee!
It was a vertically scrolling shoot 'em up, but it was kind of cute. You know, it had those cutesy characters, cartoony.
It was a cutesy shoot 'em up. A cute 'em up.
Twinbee features ships with arms that literally throw bombs and shoot other ships that are shaped like fruit. It's adorable.
Twinbee is really known for, besides being adorable and very colorful, is the bell juggling power-up system, which is love or hate, and I love it.
The power-ups in Twinbee are bells that the player can shoot to change their color and ability, and that was also used in Parodius.
In Twinbee, being vertical, it's a little bit easier to juggle the bells. As you shoot them out of clouds, they come out yellow. those are worth bonus points, but if certain ones, if you shoot them more than once, they will change the color to give you the ability to make copies of yourself as you fly around for extra shots. You can get shields.
You know, it plays upon those themes of childlike innocence and mixed with shooting, and it was popular here too.
Silent Service was a submarine simulator game released by Microprose and created by Sid Meier.
The point of the game was to take control of a United States submarine for various war patrols against Japanese shipping.
What makes Silent Service a success and why it did well was because it gave you a control room type atmosphere to kind of play the game from.
Because you had the keyboard, you know, you had the added level of control and more functions you could have in the game, which, you know, definitely fit simulators more so than any control pad could.
Yeah.
You're using like almost every key on your keyboard, and you have to learn how to play these games and control the submarine in order to, you know, lay a course.
And you did the various tasks. You looked at periscope, you know, messed with the controls, you know, trying to figure out where you are.
It won a bunch of awards and a bunch of accolades. And for hardcore sim nuts, while it's probably not played a lot today, it's definitely remembered as being an important game in the genre.
So Capcom released Ghosts and Goblins in 1985.
In Ghosts and Goblins, the player controls a knight named Sir Arthur, as in King Arthur?
You're not King Arthur, but you're a knight, and you're hanging out with your girlfriend, you know, just having a picnic.
And you're just half naked, your armor sitting on the side, I don't know why.
An evil demon comes and snatches her up while you're in your underwear. You put on your armor and you go off to try to rescue her.
All I know about Ghosts and Goblins is I saw that intro screen with the map to the castle like a million times.
Do you like pain more than pleasure? If you answered yes, I have a couple phone numbers for you and a video game that you're definitely going to want to try out.
Ghosts and Goblins is one of the hardest games ever made.
One of those games that kind of defines, you know, like Nintendo hard. Although this came out in the arcade before it was on the NES. But shut up.
You're wearing a suit of armor. You get hit once, you lose the armor, and he's just running around in his boxer shorts, which is pretty hilarious.
And while that's awfully adorable, that leaves you vulnerable to one more shot.
It's so difficult because there are just enemies and obstacles everywhere.
You have to get the knife.
These things will constantly keep popping up, so there is no rest. There is patterns, but they're hard to predict because they rely on you moving consistently
You guys gotta keep going. You gotta just grind through, but then the problem with that is you'll run into something that'll just attack you with a weird pattern, like from the air, and you gotta like run back and try to hit it with your lance or knife at that point.
I didn't even know there was a second level. I thought it was the end of the game when she got to the end. I didn't even get to the boss at the end of the first level.
If you can get to the end, spoilers, you're told that it's a trap and you've got to go back and do it again. Are you kidding me?
It's bad enough playing this on the NES where, you know, you're gonna just tear out your hair, but imagine trying to beat it in the arcade with quarters. You know, you might as well just cash out your 401k in order to do so.
And now, the gaming innovation of 1985.
Welcome to the gaming innovation of 1985. What new technology graced the world and changed the face of gaming forever? This year, a very little known game was released. The Super Mario Brothers. What else could it possibly be? This game almost single-handedly brought back the video game industry to North America. It made the NES fly off shelves, becoming one of the most popular video game systems of all time. And Super Mario Bros. Itself was the best-selling video game of all time until it was dethroned in 2008 by Wii Sports. Regardless, this game's innovative mechanics and simple-to-grasp gameplay made North Americans realize that video games were here to stay. This has been Rue for the video game innovation of 1985. I'll see you next year, and remember, it's not just nostalgia, it's science. Oh, yeah.